Being in business with your family can be hugely rewarding, but it can also be really challenging. Now, if you're in business with your family, you'll know that. But what you may not know is that there is a model that was devised at Harvard University about 40 years ago that brilliantly explains why that is the case. It explains why there's an additional level of complexity within a family-owned business that doesn't exist within a non-family business. My name's Russ Haworth. I'm a family business advisor, and I use this model with all of the families that I work with. It's a light bulb moment for them. All of a sudden, the issues and challenges that they're facing on a day-to-day basis are put into a new context simply by applying this model to their own circumstances. So let's have a look at the model. It's called the three-circle model. It was devised by Renato Taguri and John Davis back in 1978, but it has stood the test of time. The model is made up of three circles, as the name suggests: family, ownership, and management or employees. If we ignore this circle for a second and just concentrate on a non-family owned business, you have an ownership and a management circle or a system. Where there's complexity here is where the owner of that business also works in that business. So how they make decisions will be dictated by which hat they're wearing when they're considering a decision. Are they doing that as an owner, or are they doing that as somebody who works within the business? Now let's add in a family circle, and I don't mean the box of biscuits you get at Christmas. This is where a family element comes into the ownership and management or employee system of that business. So let's use an example. You may have a family member who owns some shares in the family business but doesn't work in the family business. They will sit in that segment there, and they will have an element of complexity added to their role because they're not at the day-to-day coalface within the business. Let's use another example of a family member who has no ownership and doesn't work within the business. So this would typically be the spouse of somebody who does have one of those roles. They will still be hugely influential over that business. If you were use an example of a family member who owns the business and also works within the business, they sit right in the middle of that circle there. Now that segment is the smallest but probably the most complex, because you've got three different hats you can be wearing when you're making a decision within the business. Are you making a decision in the best interest of the family? Are you making it as an owner, or are you making it as somebody who works within the business? Are the three aligned? The complexity and simplicity of this model are around those simultaneous roles. So you can very quickly see that the fact that 7 segments exist within this model means that there's lots of different conflicting roles that can happen within a family-owned business compared to a non-family business. Now, Renato Taguri and John Davis concluded that it's actually the management of these simultaneous roles that will lead to the success or otherwise of your family business. So today's exercise is to copy down the three-circle model and then apply it to your own business. Look at the key stakeholders in your business, be that family members, owners, or management team, and then fill out where they sit in each of those circles. What you'll then be able to see is which hats people will need to be balancing in order to make decisions within the business. You can also then start to see what type of forums need to exist in order to help those people make better decisions. So if a lot of your decisions are being made around the kitchen table with lots of family members who don't work within the business having an influence on that, perhaps it's better to move that to a boardroom environment where those who own or work in the business have more of an input on that. It may be that you create some form of structure for family members who don't work within the business to have a say on matters that happen within a business because it does impact on them. We'll be covering an awful lot around governance in future episodes. But for now, complete that exercise, and then if you want to go a stage further, you can write out the challenges that you're facing at the moment and then see if you can draw a line to where you think that that issue needs to be tackled. Is it a family and an ownership issue? Is it a management issue? Is it purely a family issue? And that will again help you to put into context some of the challenges that you may be facing. I'd love to hear from you once you've done this as to how it applies to your business. And if you're interested in finding out more about the three-circle model, when I'm not advising family businesses, I am hosting a podcast called the Family Business Podcast, And on episode 43, I talked to Professor John Davis, who devised this model, about its history, how it was devised, and how to apply it to your own business. So check that out. And as I say, get in touch in the comments once you've done so. Until next time, take care.